This is part 1 on how to make an iPod poster. So at this point you've made a background. It's 24 by 36 inches, RGB color, 100 resolution. We have it open, ready to receive the image of our person. So let's get our area set up. We need to have all the right panels open. The most important panel you need to see is going to be your layer panel. So let's go up to our window menu and make sure we're going to open the painting workspace. And that will give you this. Here's our layer panel ready to go. Now as you can see, my poster's still in layers. So I'm going to flatten this so it's one layer. I'm going to select this list, the pop-up list on the layer panel, flatten image. Now I'm going to save this with a different name. I'll call it Final iPod Poster. I am going to use the Photoshop format because I'm going to continue to work in layers. Now let's look at our photograph. This would be what I would call the ideal photograph. It's taken in front of a fairly plain light colored background. What we want is we want to be able to distinctly see a difference in contrast between the background and the person we're going to cut out. If the background and the person look too similar in color or value, the program is going to have a difficult time finding the edges of your object. So it's important that you take a good picture in front of a solid background. The most ideal background would actually be a white backdrop or a green screen backdrop. So for instance, we have a picture like this. Now this is okay, but unfortunately the lighting on this is bad. So there's all these different shades of green in the background. That's not good. We want one shade of green without a lot of shadows. So even though this is better, it's still not very good. Another situation we run into a lot is we take pictures like this one. They're outside and there's all kinds of things behind the person, which again is going to make it difficult to cut out. And you'll see here why in just a second. So the first thing I'm going to do to this photograph of Mr. Fiesel is change my contrast a little bit to help my program pick the edges. So I'm going to go to the Image Adjustments, Levels. I'm going to adjust the values of light and dark in this picture. The white stopper is the highlights. If I drag it down the histogram, you can see how it gets really light. The black stopper is the shadows. If I pull up, that darkens the shadows. The gray stopper here in the middle controls the lightness and darkness of all the other values of gray. So what I'm trying to do is make the background fairly light and Mr. Fiesel kind of dark. So he looks pretty dark and the background looks light. I like that. You just have to play around with it and see what you can get. Now I'm going to cut him out and put him over here in my poster. So I'm going to use one of my selection tools. In Photoshop, the first section up here, these first 6 tools, these are all used for selecting and moving and cropping your picture. That's all they do. The best way to get this cut out is going to be using one of the lasso tools. The first one is just freeform. The second one makes straight polygonal shapes. And the third one is sensitive to contrast and will actually try to find the edge of something. If you point to the edge, it will try to select it. It's called the magnetic lasso tool, and that's what we're going to use. So this ends part 1.